The Rams, the Ravens, the Knights, and the Scots. 4 great teams ready to play. Next on Quiz Kids.
It's the Bay Area Quiz Kids. Brought to you by the San Mateo Credit Union. And now, the best host on the West Coast, Brad Friedman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Brad Friedman. Welcome back to Quiz Kids. And we've got 4 great teams today. Let's introduce our first 2 teams now. Over here, we have the Westmore Rams. And they will be playing the Carlmont Scots. Welcome, teams. Let's get started right away with your first toss-up question. He completed the Master of Ballantrae while traveling in the South Pacific. Who was the author of Treasure Island? Brandon.
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Correct, for 25 points. Which science fiction author wrote Rendezvous with Rama and 2001: A Space Odyssey after settling in Sri Lanka? Your answer is Brandon.
Someone who's not Jules Verne.
It is Arthur C. Clarke. Here's your next toss-up. This geographical place name was the island home of the legendary Odysseus. What is the real-life hometown? Yes, Andrew.
Ithaca.
Ithaca is correct. For 25 points, Cornell's unofficial mascot is a bear named for what football play?
I don't know.
Brandon?
Hail Mary.
Touchdown. Here's your next toss-up. Who was within weeks of being ordained an Anglican clergyman when he impulsively took an unpaid post aboard a globe-circling ship in 1831? Casey.
Ferdinand Magellan.
No. You can steal Westmore if you come up with the answer.
Anyone from 1830?
Brandon.
Cabot.
That was Charles Darwin. So let's calm down and meet our members of the team. First, we'll say hi to the Rams. And Dosball, you're a senior.
Yeah, how you doing?
And I'm good. And I understand that you're deep in preparations for the big senior prank this year.
Yeah, I'm planning it, but I can't tell you what it is, but I'm planning it.
Okay. So
Don't tell anyone
since you
else
can't tell us what it is, how much trouble do you think you're going to get into after this prank is completed?
Oh, a lot.
Okay.
No, not really.
All right.
It's
Well,
harmless.
then, hopefully the administration is watching.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. B.
Brandon, you're also a senior, and you're going to participate in the FBLA State Championship. Why don't you tell us what that is?
It's like we take a bunch of tests and whoever scores the highest gets like trophies, and then we go on to the national conference.
FBLA is Future Business Leaders of America, right?
Yes.
So it's a business competition?
Yeah, these are all business-related tests, anywhere from like agribusiness to like banking, financial systems, and economics.
Well, remember me when you make a lot of money, Brandon. Andrew, also a senior, and you used to play the flute and are now reteaching yourself.
Yeah, so like similar to like what happened with me in the piano, I took lessons and then I stopped and then I taught myself how to play by ear. So I'm gonna try to see if it can work with the flute.
Well, we all
too.
remember what happened with that piano, so you want to maybe talk to a flute teacher a little bit? No. Well, good luck to you there. Let's say hello to the Carlmont Scots and Casey Armstrong. You're a junior and an avid coin collector.
Yes, I really like collecting coins, especially quarters, because they have some really artistic and creative designs on them.
Did you you collected all the state quarters?
Yeah.
What's come after that? What are you looking at now for design in quarters?
Well, there are more state quarters coming out, but they're called like America the Beautiful quarters, and they're
cool.
about national parks and stuff like that.
So some really good designs there. Well, good for you. Alejandro, you're a sophomore and a member of the swim team at Carlmont.
Yeah, this is currently my second year at the swim team.
Okay, and the season's coming up, right? You said.
Yeah, we're in 2 weeks. We're having our first meet against Burlingame.
Well, and I know you have to learn a lot of things, but you feel really good on the butterfly. You said the butterfly backstroke?
Well, yeah, that's what I feel. I've been doing fastest right now, but maybe Coach said something different.
Exactly. Well, good luck to you there. Becky Armstrong, also a junior, just like your sister. How weird. And you're a member of the CTTA at Carlmont. What is the CTTA?
That's the Carlmont Technical Theater Association. So pretty much we do all the stuff backstage with like sound and lighting.
Okay, and what you just did, Once Upon a Mattress?
Yeah, I was just in the musical. I helped out putting mics on everyone and making sure that they worked right.
Well, and the sound balance is important when you're singing and dancing, so good for you. All right, you guys, let's go back and continue with our game. And here's your next toss-up question. He made Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia the dedicatee of his Principles of Philosophy. Name this mathematician and philosopher who wrote in his discourse on method, I think, therefore I am. Casey.
Descartes.
That is correct. For 25 points, Descartes is known as the father of what branch of mathematics that defines geometrical shapes in a numerical way? You can discuss it together. Alejandro, what's your answer?
Geometry.
I need something more specific.
Cartesian geometry.
It's analytic geometry. Here's your next toss-up. Ciudad Juarez lies across the border from what West Texas dust ball?
El Paso.
Correct. For 25 points, to go from Ciudad Juarez to El Paso, you need to cross what body of water?
Yeah.
The Rio Grande.
That is right. And for 50 points, Ciudad Juarez is a municipality in what Mexican state?
Chihuahua.
You got 50 points. Here's your next toss-up. In his first movie appearance, which of the Muppets sang It's Not Easy Being Green? Andrew.
Kermit the Frog.
Correct. For 25 points, name the late producer-director who created Kermit in the late 50s.
Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Jim Henson.
That is right. And for 50 points, Henson said that the word Muppet reflects that the characters are combinations of hand puppets and what kind of string-operated puppets?
Marionettes.
Marionettes.
That is right for 50 points. Next toss-up. Chitin is a major component of what hard external covering of arthropods? Andrew.
Exoskeletons.
That is correct. For 25 points, which arthropod organs are comprised of thousands of functional units called ommatidia?
Whichever you think.
Brandon, what's your answer?
The liver.
It's the compound eyes, you know, on insects. Next toss-up. What city's archbishop is the spiritual head of the Church of England? Dosball.
London.
No. You can steal, Carlmont.
Canterbury.
That is right. For 25 points, Canterbury Cathedral became a place of pilgrimage after the 1170 murder of what Canterbury archbishop? Any ideas?
Thomas Cranmer.
It was Thomas à Becket. Becket. Next toss-up. How many faces there are there on an octahedron? Casey.
64.
Nope. You can steal.
I was thinking.
Brandon.
16.
8.
Oh, it wasn't.
The 64 legs of an octopus. Okay, we have 130 from Westmore, 20 for Carlmont. We'll be right back with the final round. Welcome back. Let's give a hand to the coaches for both teams. First, from Westmore, Mr. Alan Bronstein. And though she's not here on stage, she's with us in spirit. From Carlmont, Patricia Bronstein. Thank you so much, coaches. All right, Carlmont, you want to get the lead back. So, well, you want to get the lead. So, in our final round, I have 3 categories. The point value for each question is 30 points. You will need to get 4 correct answers in order to take the lead. You want to try and get all 7 so you make Westmore work to win the game. Here are today's categories: atomic theory, the Supreme Court, and easy. Which category would you like?
Atomic theory.
Okay. Today, these 7 questions are going to ask you for some information about atoms. Okay? It's the quantity denoted Z that is 82 for lead.
The atomic number.
That is right. The particles with half-integer spin are called?
Electrons.
No, they're fermions. Fermions. The number of quarks in a proton.
3.
That's right. The ion with a positive charge.
Cation.
That is correct. The number of valence electrons in neon.
8.
That is right, and you've taken the lead. The discoverer of the neutron.
Einstein.
It was Chadwick, Sir James Chadwick. And finally, the generic term for either a proton or a neutron.
A subatomic particle.
A nucleon. A
Okay.
nucleon. All right, well, let's see what happens here. Westmore, you have to get one correct answer in order to win the game. Are you going to choose the Supreme Court or easy?
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. All right. The Supreme Court. Name the people who had these distinctions on the U.S. Supreme Court. Who was the first Chief Justice?
John Jay. First, John Jay.
John Jay.
Aren't you lucky that DOSBall won you the game? There you go. Thank you so much, you guys. We'll see you next week, and we'll be right back with 2 more teams to play another game. We are back, and during the break, we switched out our teams. We have 2 new teams to introduce to you. Over here, we have the Sequoia Ravens. And they are taking on the Menlo Knights. All right, welcome, ladies, gentlemen. Let's get started right away with your first toss-up question. In tennis, it refers to a ball hit before it hits the ground. What is this term? Yes, Peter.
Volley.
That is right. For 25 points, volleyball was invented by William G. Morgan at the Holyoke YMCA in what eastern state that's also home to the Volleyball Hall of Fame?
Pennsylvania.
No, it was Massachusetts. Here's the next toss-up. Which element, whose allotropes include a form with 8-member rings, lies directly below oxygen on the periodic table and is a yellow non-metal usually associated with an unpleasant smell? Clara.
Sulfur.
Correct. For 25 points, the unpleasant smell is not sulfur itself, but what gas?
Sulfur oxide.
No, it's hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide. We are tied at 10-10, which seems like a good time to stop for a moment and say hi to our teams. Clara McAvoy, you're a 9th grader, and you are working very hard to put together Sequoia's International Festival. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Sequoia's International Festival is coming up soon on April 11th, and it's basically celebrating international culture.
So next Saturday, everyone should head over to Sequoia, and they'll get cultural events and food.
Yes, food.
Oh, food's always good. All right. Marissa McAvoy, a junior and slightly related to the girl on her right. You are a big musical theater fan. I remember you went zipping right through that category a few weeks ago. And one of your favorite musicals is Legally Blonde. Wonder why?
Yeah, I have no idea. I guess I really love Elle Woods. She's fantastic. And I'm actually on my way to go see a musical right after this, Newsies.
To see this music? Oh, to see Newsies.
No, see Newsies up in the city.
Well, I've seen Newsies. You're not going to find too many Elle Woods in Newsies. It's 15 guys.
But tap dancing.
Have a good time. Carmen, you are a junior, and you've been on the school paper since you started at Sequoia.
Yeah, I began my freshman year, and since then, I've written every year, and I've gone to conventions in San Francisco, San Diego, and recently Washington, D.C.
And now you're a managing editor.
Yes.
Good. You want to go into journalism, maybe?
I'm not really sure. It definitely seems like a stressful career, and I'm not sure if I'm quite up to that, but I would love to write for a magazine.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good luck on that. Menlo, Jeff Frankel Popel, you're a freshman and a member of the lacrosse team. That's kind of a fancy schmancy sport. You've been doing it for a couple of years now, huh?
Yeah, since 7th grade. Wasn't able to play last year, though, because of school play.
Okay. And tell us, what do you play on lacrosse? Do you have a position that you play?
I used to play midfield and attack. Now I'm starting to play goal.
And goalie's you got to be kind of tough for that, huh?
You get hit. I have a giant bruise on my hip now, but, whatever.
Take it for the team, Jeff. Peter Rustin, you're a senior, and you're involved in biotech at your school and are about to go into a very worthy research project.
Yeah, so for the entire second semester, we do an independent project, and I'm working on doing some cancer research with the HER2 gene.
And do you just kind of just work in the lab with cells and?
Yeah, so a lot of what I've been doing so far is cell culture in the cell culture hood at our school so far, and hopefully this summer I'm going to take that work to Stanford and work in the lab there.
And find a cure.
Yeah, maybe.
Why not? Come on, get going, man. David Nam, you are a senior as well and a member of the basketball team.
Yeah.
How was your season this year?
We did pretty well. We got second in CCS, and we actually just had our championship game, but yeah, we got second in league and second in our section.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, you guys, let's continue with our game and your next toss-up question. Which humanitarian society's first president was Clara Barton? Carmen.
Red Cross.
That is right. For 25 points, a popular but unsubstantiated myth is that the symbol of the Red Cross is taken from the flag of what European nation known for its neutrality?
Switzerland.
That is right. And for 50 points, in addition to the Red Cross and Red Crescent, what third neutral protection symbol was adopted in 2005? Marissa?
2 linked hands.
No, but I think Elle Woods would like a diamonds. Diamonds, yes. Here's your next toss-up. She was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, who was kidnapped by Hades and became Jeff.
Persephone.
Correct. For 25 points, which son of Zeus decapitated Medusa?
Perseus.
That is right. And for 50 points, while still an infant, which son of Zeus and Maia stole the cattle of Apollo?
Hermes.
You got 50 points. Here is your next toss-up question. Wellington, Christchurch, and Auckland are the 3 largest cities, Peter.
Australia?
No. 3 largest cities in what island nation?
New Zealand.
That is right. For 25 points, what is the name of New Zealand's indigenous Polynesian population?
Go for it.
Carmen, if you want to say it out loud, you can.
Go for it.
Maori?
That is right. For 50 points, the Maori name for New Zealand means land of the long white what? Marissa, your answer?
Mountain.
Cloud.
Cloud.
Cloud. We're tied again. Here's the next toss-up. Its outfield wall is known for its ivy. Which ballpark? Yes, David.
Wrigley Field.
Correct. For 25 points, not since 1945 has Wrigley Field hosted what fall classic that can now run into November?
World Series.
That is right. And for 50 points, many old-timers remember that there was another Wrigley Field in what West Coast city?
Los Angeles.
You got 50 points. A law passed in 1967 prevents a president from appointing family members to what body? Clara.
Supreme Court?
No. You can steal, Menlo.
Cabinet.
Yes, but they did that on House of Cards. I don't understand. Oh, anyway. For 25 points, the 1967 law is thought to be a response to whose appointment of his brother to the cabinet in 1961?
Kennedy.
That is right. And for 50 points, to what position did JFK appoint his brother?
Secretary of State.
It was Attorney General. And that is the end of the round. 135 for Menlo, 60 for Sequoia. We'll be back for the final round. Don't go away. We're back, and we have our coaches with us. Let's give a big hand. First from Sequoia, Mr. Tim Spence. And from Menlo, Mr. Richard Steinberg. Thank you, gentlemen, for all you do. All right, Sequoia, you are behind, so you get to pick first. 3 categories. The point value of each question is 30 points, and you need 3 to take the lead, but you want to get as many right as you can, okay? Today's categories are musical numbers, first ladies, and a capital idea. Which category would you like, Marissa?
We're going to go with musical numbers.
Musical numbers, okay. So each of the answers involves a number associated with some aspect of music, okay? For example, the first question asks for the number of strings on a standard guitar.
6.
That is right. The number of beats in a dotted half note.
3.
That is correct. The number of black keys in one octave on the piano.
5.
That is right. The number of violins in a standard string quartet.
Sure. You say 2.
That is right.
Nice.
The number of movements in a standard 19th century symphonic form.
3.
4. 4 movements. The frequency in hertz of the tone 1 octave above 200 hertz.
1 octave is 216.
Raising a tone by an octave doubles the frequency, so it's 400 hertz. And finally, the number of whole steps from C to E.
2.
Marissa, you ready?
2.
That is right. So you have 210 points. 5 correct. So Menlo, you need 3 correct answers to win the game. And the categories you can pick from are first ladies or a capital idea.
We'll go with a capital idea.
Capital idea. So we're looking for a modern day country that once had its capital as this. All right, I'll give you a capital city. And you tell me what the modern day country is that had it as a capital. Toledo.
Spain.
That's right. Lagos.
Nigeria.
Right, you need 1 correct answer and you win the game. Nanking.
China.
You win the game. Congratulations, Menlo. You played a great game, Sequoia, so we'll see both of you next week, and we'll see you next week, too. Bye-bye.